Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. We are back to deep dive that awesome Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. Obviously, Mandalorian Season 3 coming on March the 1st. 2 and a bit months away. We cannot wait to get there. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete. I'm going to be deep diving the trailer, and so is Canon Junkie XL Iain. Iain, how are you?
Very good, mate. It's good to be back on the show and deep diving this Mandalorian trailer with you. It's not the longest trailer in the world, but there is a few little nuggets that I've saw that I can't wait to get your opinion on and see potentially where those little bits of information might lead to.
Spot on. I think, as UK fans, this trailer was used, it was dropped during a NFL playoff game, trying to boost the numbers on one of the Disney-owned channels there. So I did not stay up for this one. I think the last trailer I did stay up for late night was the Solo one, which aired during the Super Bowl that year. Did you stay up for this one, or did you just wait in the morning?
I didn't, mate. No, I went to bed and then looked at it first thing in the morning when obviously it had been uploaded to Twitter and YouTube and all that type.
Spot on. Well, let's just dive straight. I think, from the very beginning, this trailer deals with sort of Mandalorian culture and how it seems to be scattered. We hear that sort of that Western theme song that we know so well. We see sort of Mandalorians on the, on the mountaintops, desert type mountains. We hear them talk about how Mandalorians not just about how to fight, but how to navigate the galaxy. They're scattered and they're around the galaxy. What were your thoughts on the opening and sort of seeing Mando talk about the actual Mandalorian ways and cultures, and then also seeing him with some Mandalorians as well?
I would believe that this must be later on in the season, or potentially maybe with a time jump from the Book of Boba Fett, because it seems now that he is obviously leading. It looks like he's leading anyway in the trailer, whether it's misdirect or anything. He's leading a group of Mandalorians. So I wonder if this is later on in the season, after he's come to terms with potentially being a leader for the Mandalorian people, or it could be right at the beginning. Like I said, it could be. He could have had a bit of a time jump between the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, the interesting part for me was when he said about navigating the galaxy. Obviously, we all know about the Mandalorians' fighting ability. That's unquestioned. Obviously, a warrior race. But the navigating the galaxy thing is very interesting. I wonder what that entails, because obviously he is trying. It looks like he is trying to bring scattered groups of Mandalorian like remnants together. But I do wonder what the navigating the galaxy thing means.
Well, you have to think, as the generations go on, what it means to be a Mandalorian probably changes. So, in the days of the Republic and before that, there were a warrior race that had this planet. So, it was very much, they didn't need to navigate the galaxy. But I think, the planet, as we see later, has been absolutely wiped out. Like, it's been mass genocided. It's a mess. And they are scattered all over the place. So, part of their culture now and how they survive is by being scattered and navigating the galaxy. If that didn't happen, then there would be still a Mandalorian probably wiped out by the Empire before the rebellion could win. So that's probably changed through the times. Obviously, after we see sort of him talking about Mandalorian culture and seeing him with some Mandalorians, we sort of go to Navarro, where Navarro's really changing. It's got paved paths now. It's quite clean. Grief is looking much more dapper. Those magistrate robes are getting better and better every season.
Very Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, and I think that to be, higher class, yes. And I think even the monkey lizards are happy now in trees. They're not in cages getting barbecued like they were in season 1. So it's almost like they're showing a lot of juxtaposition there of like how Navarro's changed from season 1 to now. and how it's flourishing now. Did you pick up anything like that, and what did you make of Navarro and of Grief Karga?
Obviously, Grief, from when we saw him in season 1, he has had a touch up. He's a very stylish man, so yeah, that was good. Obviously, we saw that in Mando season 2 when he goes back there, and we obviously see it on the come up now. Like you said, it looks even more on the come up. We do know from previous trailers there will be a battle there. It seems like some raiders are trying to move into Navarro. I'm guessing Mando will go there, and then Grief needs help with these raiders. But no, it's good to see. It's obviously good to see a change in a location. To be fair, it's good because it started as one thing and now it's changing to another. So yeah, it's cool to see Navarro fend away. I suppose the metaphor really. They fended off the Empire, which obviously rid the planet of the dark side, if you know what I mean. And now it's firmly in the light side. So it's a nice metaphor. Obviously, rid yourself of the dark side and then move into the light.
Yeah, I think it goes. There was an Imperial remnant there, in season 1 at the beginning, and I think it was very much a case of if the Imperial remnant goes, it'll be taken over by chaos, but it actually hasn't, which is good, And like I said, it does appear to be flourishing, which is fantastic, and Grief is doing really, really well with it. Also, after this bit, we see sort of quite a lot of hyperspace trips. We see sort of Grogu in the seeing ball. The seeing glass, which is instead of Mando having a droid, then we also see him on Mando's lap, looking really, really cute. Do you think Mando's going to be like, I don't want you riding in there, I want you riding in the cockpit with me because it's safer for you? Or do you think it's just going to be a case of Mando needs to go on a long journey, and that's why he needs to use R5 in the ship, and that's why he's got Grogu with him in the cockpit?
I assume they need R5 for some reason. Yeah, I do wonder though if obviously people who are more casual fans, if they haven't watched Book of Boba Fett, they are going to wonder what happened. Like, I thought he'd left, so it does make me laugh. I assume that can be a thing, but no, I just think Din's a bit soft, isn't he? Really, so he doesn't mind having Grogu up with him.
Definitely. After we see that, we see Mandalore and it looks absolutely destroyed. Obviously, there was a big massacre there. I can't remember the exact title of it, but do you remember the title of the massacre that happened in Mandalore?
The Night of 1,000 Tears.
There we go, the Night of 1,000 Tears. And the capital city that we've seen so much in Clone Wars, is absolutely. It looks like shattered glass all over the floor. To be quite honest with you, we see Mandalore and it looks ruined, which again dials back to the beginning of the trailer and what Mando was saying about needing to navigate the galaxy and also needing to fight. We go from there to Coruscant.
This is where me and you might disagree.
So, I've heard rumors that could be Hosnian Prime, but I think the cityscape's very much Coruscant, I think. So unless Hosnian Prime just copied the exact same architecture, which I would like to think it wouldn't, then I think it's probably Coruscant. My thing was, obviously, we see Dr. Kirshen in a taxi in Coruscant, and I wonder if this is is it a flashback to him during the cloning days in the Empire, or is it, in fact, maybe he's in witness protection type of thing now since he's been captured, and this is like the modern day, and he's maybe giving evidence to the New Republic about what they were doing with Baby Yoda and that type of stuff, Grogu. But start with the cityscape and your thoughts, bud.
Oh, I never thought actually it could be a flashback. It could be a flashback, to be fair. Obviously, when the Empire controlled Coruscant, that's a good shout, mate. I never thought of that, to be fair. I just obviously to line up with the thing, it makes sense if it was Hosnian Prime, because Hosnian Prime is at this point is the capital of the. Is it still the capital of the New Republic? I think it might be. Is it either Chandrila or Hosnian Prime? So I just thought it'd be cool. Don't get me wrong. If we go back to Coruscant, I love that. That'd be cool. Maybe you get to see a few things. But yeah, like you said, it could have been a flashback to when the Empire was still firmly in control of the galaxy. It's good to see Dr. Pershing back. We're obviously continuing with that arc of what they're cloning. I'm probably led to believe that it's something to do with Palpatine and that type of thing, and that's why. Because I remember a while back, Jon Favreau did say something about getting into the origins of the First Order and all that type of thing. So I do wonder what that could lead to. Because 5 years, I think it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, or 5 or 6. But yeah, I'm just thinking what the First Order would be at this point. I don't know whether they're still like a disparate faction in the unknown regions, but Palpatine had built up a sizable force in the unknown regions, so it's good to see that we are attacking like that thread, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something that was said. You bang on the head there, mate. They said that the Mandalorian verse and the series would tie into the origins of the First Order and the sequel trilogy. Whether they're still doing that or not, we don't know. But the fact that we see Dr. Pershing here and he's linked to the cloning, and we sort of all ties into Exegol and that type of thing. The bigger picture come 20, 30 years down the line in the storytelling and the canon. So yes, I think whether it's a flashback or whether it's like now, we're definitely going to see some information coming out about what type of cloning they were doing in the early days, and it probably wasn't as complex as Snoke and that type of thing. But yeah, they're definitely starting to do it, and obviously they picked they had Baby Yoda for a reason. Grogu, Force sensitive being, and I think he was picked on purpose because of his abilities, because of his blood, and possibly having a lot of midi-chlorians in there.
Well, yeah, if they need a clone body, who's in the galaxy now currently who they could use for like a Palpatine thing is Luke, Ahsoka, Grogu, and potentially any other Jedi we don't know. Ezra, even though we don't know where he is, he's out of the picture somewhere. So yeah, there's not that many really that are about. So
I'm going to tie into something later, but also, if you wanted to take DNA samples from something, and you want it to be the best type of sample, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we don't know how many chlorines work, okay, but we know that Anakin has a lot, and we know that Yoda has a lot, and if it's maybe just because Yoda has a lot, maybe means they might think Grogu has a similar amount because he's the same species. So maybe he was chosen a bit more on purpose, as in we're going to get the best DNA from this person, and that's why we need it from that person. But it'd be interesting to see. Part of us thinks that Dr. Pershing on Coruscant could be a flashback, but also part of us thinks maybe he's given evidence to New Republic, the Senate, or the New Republic report that's been done. But it'd be interesting to see what information comes out there.
Because obviously you said about him obviously being on house arrest and that. Like if he is on house arrest, I don't think he'd be just allowed to cut around in a taxi around Coruscant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I think if you remember, he was quite protective of Grogu.
Yeah,
and he wasn't wearing Imperial uniform; he was wearing sort of cloning type uniform.
Yeah.
So if he could very much look, I was told to do this by the Empire, and I was hired to do this, and I've tried to do best by the patients, but also I'm not a military man type of thing. So who knows how that could have gone down? But I think we're going to find out someone I'm excited to find out, because he's quite a complex character, to find out just how involved he was and how much he did care about Grogu and maybe other patients that maybe under his care that were being tested on as well. From there, we move on to sort of, I think we're seeing like a warning about a warning from one of the New Republic X-Wing pilots who patrols the Outer Rim.
Yes, Carson Teva.
Yeah, Carson Teva, who obviously he probably deals with the sector that Navarro's in. We see him talking to Mando, which I imagine is on Navarro, I would imagine. He mentions about a warning from the New Republic that something's happening, and if you don't act now, it might be too late to act. And that, for me, that could be the First Order he's talking about there, and I imagine it is. Something's happening, they're not sure what it is, but something's not right. There's a lot of Imperial remnants around in the area, finding these strange, cloning facilities, you could say, because I'm sure there was one on Navarro, wasn't there, I think, in season 2.
Yes.
So I think they're putting the threads together, probably too slowly, but they're panicking about what's happening. What did you make of the warning from Carson Teva, and also what did you make of his lovely Rancor jacket?
I don't believe he is talking to Mando at that point. Because talking to Mando at that point, Mando's not really in charge of it. I believe that he might be back on wherever, Coruscant, Hosnian Prime, Chandrila, and talking to someone high-ranking in the New Republic, because he says about the Outer Rim. Doesn't sound like he's currently in the Outer Rim. So I believe it's either two things. They're either building towards the First Order or they're building towards Thrawn.
I like that.
The fact we haven't seen Thrawn yet, I don't know whether they'll bring Thrawn in and we'll think he's the villain, and he might be off in the unknown regions fighting I don't know. I don't think they'd ever bring the Grists in from the books or anything, or like the Grists are basically the Yuzhan Vong in canon. And I don't know whether that I either believe it's building towards First Order or Thrawn, or potentially both. Is Thrawn coming back to the known galaxy to take on the New Republic, like he did in Heir to the Empire back in the old expanded universe? But the way Thrawn's been written in the books, he wouldn't. I don't see him returning to the galaxy to take on the Republic. He was very much with the Empire because he saw them as the best possible option to fight back whatever he was referring to in the unknown regions. So I don't know whether there'll be a misdirect there, and we think that Thrawn's going to be this big bad. I can still see him being a big bad. I can still see him potentially trying to do like Heir to the Empire potentially. Maybe he knows that Palpatine is out there somewhere, and he thinks, you know what I mean. But it could be the First Order, it could be Thrawn. They're obviously building to something. Something is happening with all these Imperial remnants in the Outer Rim. They are clearly answering to someone, and I believe that person is Thrawn. Just like it was in the old EU.
Yeah, I like what you said about Carson Teva could be, in a New Republic government facility there, and speaking to the New Republic government, maybe warning them about something coming, because now you've said that matches perfectly with sort of why Leia leaves the government eventually down the line to form the resistance, because the New Republic sort of don't take the threat of what's happening too seriously. So maybe he's seeing things. He's seeing things in the Outer Rim. He's dealing with these Imperial remnants, and and then maybe he's reporting it back, and maybe the New Republic are like stumbling with it and not wanting to do much about it. Don't want to rock the boat. Maybe he's saying there, look, we need to do something about it now because the time might come where it's too late. And if he actually is talking about that, then he's right, because by the time they decide to take action, Starkiller Base blows up the government.
Yeah, so I was thinking then, back in the Aftermath trilogy, it was confirmed that Thrawn helped Palpatine navigate paths into the unknown regions. So obviously, if he is away somewhere and he hears that members of the Empire have obviously escaped into the unknown regions after the Battle of Jakku, it would make sense for him to potentially lead them, because there's still obviously 30 years between the Imperial remnant leaving after the Battle of Jakku and obviously the First Order coming in. So potentially, and I always remember that obviously Grand Admiral Ray Sloan and all that type of thing escaping to the unknown regions after the Battle of Jakku in the Aftermath trilogy, and they meet up with Palpatine's Imperial Superstar Destroyer, the Eclipse, which I don't know if people from Legends remember. It was the Superstar Destroyer had like the hatchet front, which is class. I would love it if the Eclipse turned up in the Mandoverse. That'd be class. So I do wonder. They're obviously building towards. I think it will be Thrawn. Like I said, Ahsoka's going to come out this year. I think that's when we'll get our first glimpse of Thrawn, or potentially will we get a glimpse of him in Mando season 3, like just like a teaser like we got for the Book of Boba Fett. Will we get a teaser for Ahsoka, where you just see the white suit and the blue skin? He doesn't really do anything, if you know what I mean, because we still don't know who's playing Thrawn. The actor who we think is playing Thrawn has come out this week and said, I'm not playing Thrawn in live action. Whether that's a misdirect or not, I don't know. But I have to believe if Ahsoka's filming and she mentioned Grand Admiral Thrawn, I have to believe that whoever's playing Thrawn has shot scenes as Thrawn, if you know what I mean by now.
Definitely. I'd sort of go back to something you said. So, we're talking about sort of that threat, and we'll see Thrawn. I think, if Palpatine had these measures set aside, these operations of what to do if the Empire fell, and how much did Thrawn know? We know Thrawn knew a lot and was involved a lot in the Emperor's plans. Did he know them all? Probably not. But was he aware of like the operation? To go to Jakku, have the battle, and then vanish into the unknown regions? I imagine he probably was, because he probably gave Palpatine the information of where to go for the remnants of the Imperial fleet, if that makes sense, to vanish and then start building the First Order. So I'd imagine he knows about that a little bit. How much, we don't know. So he's definitely involved in one way or another, whether he just give the information, didn't know what it was for, or whether he give the information and he's fully involved, or whether he give the information and he sort of read between the lines and has a good understanding because of that. We know he's a very complex character who understands things by sort of being there and seeing and doing and reading and looking at culture, that type of stuff.
It did make me laugh though, because there was a line, I can't remember in what in what book it was in. It was in either in a book or a comic, but obviously he gave Palpatine the paths into the unknown region, but he wouldn't tell Palpatine where the Chiss ascendancy was, if you know what I mean. So he obviously didn't trust Palpatine 100% because you wouldn't.
Yeah.
So he didn't give. I remember Palpatine saying, "Oh, he has obviously kept the whereabouts of the Chiss ascendancy unknown." Because I've always thought if the First Order is to rise in the unknown regions, then surely they will come across the Chiss ascendancy at some point.
Yeah. And I think, he didn't 100% trust Palpatine, and I don't think Palpatine 100% trusted him. So again,
No, he definitely didn't. No,
so
he
how
definitely.
much?
I think he even said that at one point. He's like, no. Obviously, in the 3 Thrawn books, he goes through countless tests of his loyalty, and I think even one book's called Treason, isn't it? Yeah, so
It is. So I think Thrawn's definitely involved in one way or another about how the Empire escapes in the unknown regions and then starts to rebuild. He definitely give them the information of where to go and what to do. Whether he knew what it was for and exactly the plan, we don't know. I think we might see Thrawn. I think you're right. I think if we set him up in this series, even just like a couple of scenes or one scene where we see him sort of being involved in the background, again, it sets it up a tie into Ahsoka when Ahsoka comes out. So yeah, very, very exciting times with that. I think we'll actually see.
I would definitely believe we would get a Mando, whatever show comes next. We had a teaser when Mando season 2 finished. We got a teaser for the Book of Boba Fett, and obviously Book of Boba Fett came out. Did we get a teaser for the Book of Boba Fett? I don't think we did, but I could definitely see Mando season because Mandalorian is the main, obviously, tentpole show of that whole universe. Most casual people watch the Mandalorian. I think I saw something saying that it got the trailer across all platforms got like 83 million views, whatever, in the first however many days. So if they're going to do a teaser for another show, they will do it, obviously, in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and I think you got to remember as well, like in Mandalorian season 2, they're already Boba Fett had been part of the season, and then we got the teaser at the end, the credits. That makes sense of like him on the throne, Jabba's palace. So I think it could be the same way. I don't think it'll just be a clip at the end of the credits of the last episode showing you Thrawn he's coming. I think he's going to be part of the season somewhere. Now, integral to the Mando storyline, maybe not, but he's going to be in the background. We're going to see him doing something. And then, like I said, and then they might tease it. Look, actually, he's coming in Ahsoka coming soon. I think we're going to see him be part of that, or whether we actually see him or whether we just hear about him, see him pulling some strings. But I think he's going to be there. Hopefully. Moving on from that, we sort of see Mando. I think they talk maybe about Mandalorian being knackered. We see him pull a Mandalorian helmet out of sort of desert ruins, and it's crumpled and damaged. And again, like this is what Mandalore's like now. Again, just setting up, he's gone there to go and swim in these rivers to
the mines of
himself.
Mandalore.
And it's not going to be a pleasant journey. I think it's what it's setting up here. It's not going to be a pleasant journey at all. He's going to be wandering through lands that have been massacred in the past, that haven't been rebuilt, or no one's there. And like, what is there now? I don't think the Empire's there now, but is there creatures? Is it, it's barren land? Like there'll be dangers there, I would imagine. What were your thoughts on the imagery of him sort of pulling that Mando helmet out of that sort of sand-like massacre area?
To be fair, I did see some similarities to obviously Star Wars Rebels Season 4 when they developed that weapon that melted obviously Mandalorian armor, the Duchess it was called. So whether that's another tie to Thrawn, I've always had this theory that for some reason Mandalorians just haven't gone back to Mandalore after the Empire. You know what I mean? They haven't gone back, and there's been obviously we've heard stuff like it's cursed, it's ruined, the planet's turned to glass. I have to believe there's some presence there. There's got to be something there, because why would they just not return and try and like rebuild their society? Obviously, with them being scattered and fighting and infighting and all that just could be the case. But I do find it weird that they haven't just returned to the planet, and they just seem somewhat reluctant to return to the planet. I get it, obviously, it's a massive massacre, they got destroyed and all that. But I do think it's weird that Bo-Katan never just gone back to Mandalore. And maybe she has and we just haven't seen it, but she says about, obviously, the planet being cursed and all that type of thing. So I believe that maybe it did look like similar armor as well to the one that we see in Star Wars Rebels Season 4. So potentially, maybe Thrawn or whoever is operating out of Mandalore, if you know what I mean.
Maybe. I think I think going back to what you're saying about going back to Mandalore, I think, once they had the Night of a Thousand Tears and massacred the Empire, I think the Empire were probably based there. Like, they didn't want Mandalore coming back and gathering strength. So guess what? Now there's going to be a garrison here, fleet here. Like, you'll not be coming back to this planet. If you do, we'll wipe you out. Just to keep them scattered and keep them from not gaining any progress and becoming a threat again. So I think that's probably what stopped them from doing that. Obviously, after the fall of the Empire, Bo-Katan only just now, 5 years later, is talking about trying to do something. So do you know what I mean? They haven't been that quick on the uphold, and they do mention about Mandalore being cursed. You're very right. And I think going back to Rebels, and you're talking about how him picking that helmet up give you flashbacks to season 4. What it reminded me of is on Malachor, when they go in season 2, when Ezra picks up and they see all the Sith and Jedi corpses, and they've turned to like sort of ash-like statues, and he picks up that lightsaber and it doesn't work properly, but you feel that like something bad happened to you long ago. And again, that was the same feeling when he picks a helmet up. Something bad happened to you long ago, and like, is this land still cursed? If you know what I mean? Is something still here? Is it just unlucky, or is there something more sinister at play? Who knows? We will find out, though, I hope. Very, very interesting times. Next up, obviously, Order 66. Again, give us more tragedy, please, Lucasfilm. They love it.
Yeah. They get the money out of the Jedi Temple sets, whoever they made, all the volume bit.
Definitely. I think I'm glad we're getting this because, for me, it was very similar to the flashback from what we see with Grogu last time around. We see sort of the camera point of view, I believe, is Grogu, and we see the Jedi in front of him watching the door ahead, and then obviously something's coming through the door. I imagine it's the 501st, possibly Vader. But I think we're going to... Why I wanted to see it again was not because I want to see Order 66 again and experience the tragedy again, because although that is awesome storytelling, as much as it is sad, and it really weighs down emotional wise, which is good. It gives the show that big emotional bang. You know what I mean? You feel that in your heart when you watch it every time, and that's why we care about these characters. But I think also I'm excited because I want to see Grogu's memories more. So are we going to see more this time, like an extended version of the memory? So yeah, and also, I mean, tell us what your thoughts were about seeing Order 66 again, and then I've got a theory to ask you about afterwards.
Can't wait to hear that. I believe that eventually we will see who rescued him from the Jedi Temple. Obviously, with all this build, I have to believe it will be a Jedi we know. Whether that is Barriss Offee, I've seen, obviously, in the first flashback we saw on the doors, we see her symbol. And we know what Dave Filoni's like. He doesn't just put stuff in. There's always meaning behind that. So whether it's Barriss Offee, if there was ever going to be a show where Mace Windu returned after Kevin his hand cut off or all that, would potentially be Mace Windu. I don't know. I've seen stories of I've seen like theories of Mace Windu potentially becoming like a Jorah Sabayoth type character, maybe being cloned and becoming like a Krayt. I think a Samuel L. Jackson Mace Windu version of Jorah Sabayoth would be really interesting and cool, like him as Jorah Sabayoth was in the Heir to the Empire thing. I think that would be a cool twist. But I have to believe we're building someone who's going to save Grogu from the Jedi Temple, and it's not just going to be a random throwaway Jedi. I have to believe that. They wouldn't have all this build and it just be some generic Jedi we've never seen before. So I have to believe we're eventually going to build to where we will see who's rescued him. Also, if we're going back into another flashback, I'm guessing that means Bando's met up with either Luke or Ahsoka again to see potentially Luke, because it was Luke who obviously did the thing to show us the flashback. So I assume maybe Luke's in Mando season 3 again. So yeah, I'm really excited. I am waiting to see who rescues Grogu from the temple. It's been a big thing since Ahsoka mentioned it. He was obviously saved from the temple. Someone has saved him for a reason. So there has to be a reason why he's been saved. So yeah, what is your theory? I'd love to hear it.
So something I noticed after watching, I think we've both watched the trailer, multiple times since it launched 5 years ago. We see, that flashback again. Your camera's obviously point of view of Grogu. We see the door, but there's at least 4 Jedi there. Okay.
Yes.
Sort of almost guarding Grogu, right?
Yes.
watching that door. And I think, if you go back to Kenobi and you've got all them younglings and they've got one Jedi Master teaching them, and then she tries to protect them. So I wonder, is Grogu maybe a Jedi secret weapon? And that's why he's got so many Jedi guards guarding him at one time?
There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason why. He's not just. Clearly, he's not just another youngling in the Jedi Temple, because no one was guarding those younglings. They just got sent to the Jedi Council chamber to die. So there's got to be a reason. Whether it's because he's Yoda's species, whether there's another reason, there's got to be a reason.
So I was wondering if maybe, the Jedi have obviously come across Grogu. They're trained to be a Jedi. Yaddle's gone, and we don't know how powerful Yaddle was. But so if Grogu has the potential to be as strong as Yoda, are they maybe looking at Grogu as being maybe the savior of the Jedi Order? We know at this point in time before Order 66, the Jedi are on a downward spiral. They're chasing shadows almost. They have been for decades. Do they see Grogu as like, if we can get Grogu over the line, like he'll save the Order type of thing?
Yeah.
Or we'll have like Yoda and him fighting for her, and Anakin if he, because he's good as well. Like, is that like the front three we need to like sort of really pull this back around? But yeah, I just thought a lot of Jedi gone Grogu in. We don't know. We don't know if that's where Grogu started from in his journey in the temple. So maybe he's got to that point, and then all the Jedi gathered, and then they're going to go through that door. But it just seems to be potentially it's a lot of guards like around him just for like one person's life. If that makes sense. And like it's absolute chaos in that temple. So like the fact that they haven't ran to other places, or the fact they've congregated there, seems quite like it's either pure chance or it's like a calculated decision, and sort of why. So no, yeah.
One of the Jedi looks like a Sindralig as well, to be fair.
It does indeed, yeah. So I mean, but yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, yeah, like was Grogu seen as like maybe a secret weapon, or not a weapon, but a secret like the future of the Jedi who was going to pull it back around, maybe, and that's why he is where he is, and that's why he's got people guarding him. So, 2 questions for you off the back of that, Iain. So, who do you think is coming through that door? Is it just the 501st Troopers? Is it maybe a Force user as a Vader? And then also, after someone comes through that door, how are you predicting Grogu gets away? And do you think we'll see that this season? I think they'll extend it to season 4 if there is one.
There has to be a payoff soon, because we can't keep doing this every season. I believe it'll be clone troopers. If you look at the door, it's not a lightsaber cutting through that door. It looks like the clones are trying to obviously break the door down. I have to believe if Grogu comes face to face with Vader, then Grogu would die. So I take it Vader didn't get to Grogu that night. I believe because there's obviously been rumours that Barriss Offee will be in the Ahsoka show. I believe it'll be Barriss Offee. Yes, she was in prison at this point, but we don't know what happened to her after that. And Dave Filoni has always said that her story is not done, because originally they were just going to kill her off. She was going to die in an explosion at the end of that arc of the Clone Wars, where she obviously bombed the Jedi Temple, or helped bomb the Jedi Temple. So, and plus with the logo being displayed in the Book of Boba Fett flashback, like they don't just put them in there for no reason. So I believe it'll be Barriss Offee. She will steal Grogu away into the night, and then whatever happens to him after that, I have no idea. But yeah, I think it'll be Barriss Offee. As much as I'd love it to be Mace Windu, I don't think it will be.
Spot on. After sort of the Jedi Temple stuff in Order 66, we then see a bit of a dogfight happening. This Imperial TIE interceptors chasing the Mandalorian ship. Could it be Bo-Katan's ship? Quite possibly. Do you think these are Revenant TIE interceptors, or do you think this is like a flashback to the Imperial Navy fighting against Mandalore?
I think these are Imperial Remnant. I'm so happy to see TIE interceptors back. That was one of my favourite moments of the trailer. I used to love the TIE interceptor. I think it was a really cool design. Obviously, a new design. I think the first time they were introduced was Return of the Jedi TIE interceptors, to be fair. So yeah, that's a really cool thing. Just living in a world where we see in live action TIE interceptors chasing a Mandalorian fang fighter, that is unbelievable, and it looks so good. So yeah, I believe, because there's a bit of misdirecting in this trailer, because obviously we see it cuts to a cockpit and it's Din sat in the cockpit, but that cockpit is the N1 starfighter he's in. So I believe it'll be Bo-Katan or whoever the Mandalorians are in that Fang Fighter. So yeah, no, but it's awesome to see TIE interceptors back. I love that.
It was indeed great to see them moving really fast and with purpose, proper chasing down that Mandalorian ship, and probably is Bo-Katan in. Quick thing I want to talk about is obviously, there was a trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration that wasn't released to the public, although I think there's plenty of bootlegs around, and Disney looks haven't really done much to squash them. You can go and watch them online, and that trailer features a lot of Bo-Katan and also makes her out to be perhaps maybe this season's villain. And this trailer here that I've released to the public, we don't really see any Bo-Katan at all.
We see a little bit of it, yeah. We see a little bit of stuff of that window where we see in the previous trailer, obviously, where the throne room type thing she's in.
So it's very subtly shown this time around. Like, what do you think of that? Do you think maybe are they trying to misdirect us this time around and not last time around, or what's your thought?
I think there will be tension, obviously, between Bo-Katan and Din, because her whole purpose was to get the Darksaber back, and he obviously did that. So I think there will be tension, but I don't see her going villain and betraying Din or any type of thing. I think it will become to a point where she will get behind Din. I think there is obviously blame laid there, because I remember in one of the trailers she obviously said, "Where were you when Mandalore fell? You were away with your cult." Not really Din's fault. I think Din was quite a young man at that point, so it's not really Din's fault. He obviously knows no difference, because the armor has been telling him this stuff for years, about all the stuff for the cult stuff. So I don't think Bo-Katan will be a villain. I do think eventually we will see Bo-Katan and the armorer potentially fight, which would be cool.
It will indeed. Yes, it will indeed. After we see that, do you think, obviously we then go to the droid bar, which I just think's full circle. When this show first started, Mandalorian Season 1, Mando dislikes droids a lot compared to him. We see the flashbacks why it's because of, obviously, the droids destroyed his homeworld during the Clone Wars. And his family were destroyed by the droids. Obviously, he was saved by Mandalorian Death Watch. But we've seen him sort of grow to love the droid, especially with his interactions with IG-11 and IG-11's sacrifices for him and Grogu in the team. Do you think...
I can guarantee you they say we don't serve your kind here. I can guarantee you. That's going to happen.
So someone's going to walk in who's a living creature and they're going to say we don't serve your kind. Did you tell me how many droids you spotted and which ones are you most excited to see in the bar?
The B1s. I love the B1s. The B1s are back. B1 battle droids. I hope they're just as goofy and stupid as they are in the Clone Wars, because I love the B1 battle droid. Obviously, the Phantom Menace is the first one I saw in as a kid. So yeah, I'm excited to see the B1s. That's really cool. I do hope they speak. It'll be really cool. I saw basically B1s. There's a lot of astromechs in there. There's a few. There's like a bartending droid. So yeah, I'm super excited to see like a droid only bar, and seeing the B1s there is quality. I love seeing the B1s.
And why do you think we're going to a droid bar? I think we're going to recruit some droids to help out.
I have to believe it must be. They must need something, or Mando needs something, or whether it's just maybe the droids have hired Mando for a bounty. That would be full circle, wouldn't it?
It would indeed. After that, we sort of see, we've got sort of a few different shots put together. We've got some Mandalorians dropping out of a speeder or a ship, out the bottom of the jetpacks on, very similar to what they were doing in the Clone Wars. Again, my first thoughts were this could be Mandalorians on Mandalore, or the Mandalorian sort of group who Din Djarin sort of rolls with. We do see that group again, sort of, jetpacking in. We see big Paz Vizsla shooting his gun and stuff. So could it be tied into that? Or is this perhaps a flashback to Death Watch, the terrorist group who did save his life? Is it a flashback to them launching down into the town to save young Din Djarin? I don't know what your thoughts were on that, Iain.
That would be a cool idea. Obviously, we've seen that shot a few times, and it is quality. I think it's Navarro. I think this is where, because we've seen obviously Raiders will come on Navarro and try and obviously take the planet. So I can see this. Obviously, Din using his Mandalorian people to fight these Raiders off. So I think this will be on Navarro.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think we also see sort of Tatooine, and we see I forgot her name now, but
Pelimoto.
that's the one. Yeah, Pelimoto,
Oh, yeah.
Din's nanny / mechanic. Sort of sending him off on an adventure. She's given R5
And
an navigational droid by the looks of it, telling me the force be with you, which is quite cool to see. And then we go into that sort of the very end. The clip is we see sort of Baby Yoda on his own, Grogu on his own, traveling
Looks
through
like
like,
Mandalore to me. Yeah.
and then a creature jumps down. It's an alien, but I think it's sentient. I think it's not wearing much, but it's got a blaster, and we see sort of Grogu use the force to really injure this creature. Actually, it looks like really puts him down. What are your thoughts on Grogu defending himself and being part of the team in an assault type role?
It obviously shows that he's obviously learning. Obviously, his time with Luke has obviously paid off. Obviously, before when we first saw him, he used to use the Force. He used to tire him out. It doesn't seem to tire him out this time. So it's good to see him obviously developing that way. And I do love that for all the special effects, that is clearly a guy in like a rubber mask. So I love that. That's Star Wars at its core, to be fair. So really cool.
Do you think we will see any other Force users apart from Grogu and apart from the Order 66 flashbacks? Will we see any other Force users in this season?
I have to believe we'll see Ahsoka. Whatever episode Dave Filoni's directing, I assume we will see Ahsoka. I think we'll see Luke again. And I think we will see a new Force user potentially on the dark side, because I've seen all these rumours, and I obviously don't want to get into rumours and that, but I do think that Thrawn will have a dark side. Yeah, I don't think it'll be Ezra. Because to go for all that in Star Wars Rebels and then find out he's turned to the dark side would be a bit weird. But if it worked, it worked. But I have heard rumours that there will be a new dark side. Whether we'll see it in this show or not, but definitely in the Ahsoka show, there will be a new dark side threat to the galaxy, if you know what I mean.
So season 3 has 6 directors: Lee Isaac Chung, Rick Famuyiwa, Bryce Dallas Howard, Rachel Morrison, Peter Ramsey, and Carl Weathers. So both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are not directing this season, which doesn't surprise when you consider the work they're probably doing on Ahsoka and whatever else is going on. Plus,
and Skeleton Crew, yeah, as well.
So there's a lot happening. So Dave's not directing this season, but I think we will see Ahsoka. I hope we do see Luke Skywalker as well. Won't mind him coming back sort of to interact with Grogu. Would be good to see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That brings an end to sort of all the notes I've got on the trailer and Mandalorian season 3. Is there anything that we haven't spoke about in the trailer that you want to talk about, Iain?
No, nothing. I do believe. I believe something will happen on Mandalore. Something will happen on Mandalore, whether that's tied to the First Order, Thrawn, Palpatine, or something. I do believe something's happening on Mandalore, though, because, like I said, there's got to be a reason they haven't gone back. And obviously, I've seen rumours of things that potentially are in the show, so I obviously don't want to say them here because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who is not interested in those type of things. So, yeah, I do believe that it is building something. I do believe it'll be Thrawn, because that's just who I believe it's building to. So yeah, nothing I'm really to add from the trailer. Apart from on the Disney Plus version, there is an extra scene.
I haven't seen the Disney Plus version yet.
On the Disney Plus version, have you seen obviously it was on the thing, the bit where the Star Destroyer is under construction?
I've seen the picture of it, yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's in the Disney Plus version of the trailer, apparently. I haven't seen it. I haven't gone on Disney Plus to watch the trailer, but I've seen people say, oh yeah, that scene is in the Disney Plus version of the trailer, on the Disney Plus platform, I'm guessing. There's the Star Destroyer under construction or deconstruction. I assume it's the same planet we see Dr. Pershing on, because he's stood at the base of the picture with the comms operator from Mando Season 2. So yeah, there is that in the Disney Plus version as well.
So there you go, listeners. If you only watch the trailer on YouTube, like me, maybe
as
soon as you get off this episode, go and watch the Disney Plus version and see if there's extra bonus content. I know that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as we wrap this up.
Yeah.
But that brings an end to our trailer review. Just overall thoughts, Iain, like how excited are you for March 1st and for the entire season of Mando Season 3?
Absolutely excited. They're dropping it just in March, just when everyone's yearly subscriptions run out. So that's a great way to keep people subscribed, which I would do anyway. But no, hugely excited. It's good. we're obviously building towards something, but we don't know what that is, and I think that's better than obviously just telling us what we're building towards. Obviously, there's the Palpatine stuff, the Thrawn stuff, but we are building to something. This will affect this galaxy on a wider scale, I would believe. So it's good that we are building towards something. I'm hugely excited to see what he is building towards. And yeah, this is super exciting, mate.
Definitely, that's been one of the great things about the Mandalorians. That it's set up different things. You know, it's set up Book of Boba Fett. It's set up Ahsoka. It showed us Luke Skywalker. You know, it showed us this Imperial remnant going on. It's mentioned Grand Admiral Thrawn. You know, lots happened. It's set lots of different stories up in, you know, all over the galaxy for us, which is fantastic. Which is wonderful. Yeah, that brings us into our trailer review. Just a quick one. I don't know if you've been buying any merchandise lately, Iain, but I have seen that game, the game shop in the UK, Game UK, has a lot of Star Wars figures, Hasbro merchandise, both Black Series and the Vintage Collection, at like reduced prices. So I recommend anybody who's wanting Star Wars figures, get yourself into Game and see what bargains you can pick up. Have you been getting any figures lately?
Nothing really, mate. The last ones I got was when we were obviously I met you in London, was the Cobb Van thing, so I haven't got any figures recently, no. But no, like I said, I haven't really got a lot of merchandise at the moment. I'm looking forward to obviously Bad Batch is back, which is fine, but I'm looking forward to the live action shows coming back, and that'll probably whet my appetite to get a bit more merchandise, if you know what I mean. And obviously Celebration in April, which I will buy something.
Yeah, Celebration obviously is coming in April, which will be, you know, Easter weekend in April, which is going to be fantastic. Obviously me and Iain both going to be there, which is fantastic. Obviously Hope and Jason and Kat will both be there as well. Yeah, it'll probably be more than one item, I think. We'll probably need to take some form of remortgage of the house or something for the amount of Star Wars merchandise that'll be available at Star Wars Celebration, I imagine.
I've got to do that this year, so I didn't mention that because I probably would.
Spot on. Well, no, Iain, thank you very much for joining us. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Star Wars Iain, all lowercase. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Geordie Jedi Pete. You can find the podcast on Twitter at Boars Star, and you can find the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, please just take a moment, leave us a top review. Just makes us smile very much when we see them. Also helps other people find the podcast and helps us book guests. And if you listen on any other of the hundreds of wonderful podcast platforms, if those have a rating system, again, just leave us a top rating. Leave a nice comment if you can. Again, it makes us smile a lot, which is fantastic. Helps our happy midichlorians rise. And again, it just helps other people find the show. But no, thank you very much for listening. May the force be with you all. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pack 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.